I'm Chad Hoover, and this week I'm back on my home waters, the rivers of Tennessee, with the guys from T&M Moving Waters chasing some big old river smallmouth.
Get up and put on the coffee. You know the sunlight won't last. Making my way to the country. I'm gonna catch a big old bass.
That is a spud. Yeah! Oh my God! Booyah! Welcome to this week's episode. We're on one of my favorite places in the world to fish, any river in Tennessee, and that's the only thing I can tell you today, and you can hate me for it, but I think you're gonna love this episode as Justin from Fish USA and the T&M Moving Waters crew and I head down this river looking for some trophy smallmouth. Here we go, fish on. Fish on! So I wouldn't have caught this fish without the power pole, because what I did is I pulled up and let that Senko just drift down the bank and held myself right in the current. This is a perfect example of how that micro anchor makes a world of difference in holding position in current. And that's a pretty little fish. But for this river, you know what he gets, right? You guys know what he gets? You know what he gets? You know what he gets? The dink drop. You know, for a long time, I wouldn't bring my power pole, micro anchor, shallow water anchor on the river. But let me show you a tip, a recent, not really that recent, so something I've been doing for a couple years, but something that I do to take my power pole micro anchor on the river. And that's to take the pole and to cut it down to that long. Now, you ask me, Chad, how do you decide how long to make it? Well, let me show you how long I make it. I like to make it where I can fold the pole over, because if I'm going under trees, I don't want it to hit the seat like that. So I just simply hit the down button, tuck it in behind the seat. We're good to go, tighten it back up, and I can leave it in this stowed position until I'm clear of the trees. Once I get clear of the trees, I hop back out in shallow water, loosen it up, fold it back up, tighten it down, and I'm ready to go again. You want a water?
That works. Anything works. Thank you.
All right, so Nick just caught a freaking stud, and it like pounded a bait in like shallow water, like super shallow water. So we're gonna pull out and take a look at this fish. Oh yeah. Let me put the power pole down. I'm about to check out this beauty. All right, guys, so the camera guy fell back, you know, because these waters are pretty technical. Nick was running point. Let me explain to you a little bit about river etiquette. JG missed a fish. And the way that river etiquette works is when you miss a fish, you have to go to the back. And so we're running that's what we call Tennessee river etiquette. You miss a fish, go to the back. Nick took point, caught this giant. And then what we did is we did the Tennessee two-man landing. Basically, you just drop your paddle, jump out of the boat, and he kind of walks it in your hands and you scoop it up. Wish I could have showed you that, but we can show you this anyway. Look at that. Look at that beauty. So we're gonna see if we can't bring you 4, 5, 6, 8, 15 more of these today. So, good job, brother.
Yeah.
Oh God, there's a monster right there. Dude, there's a monster right here in the front of this V. Yeah. Pretty fish. Pretty fish. Oh yeah. Come here, you good. Come here. Get in this boat. Look at that thing. Right there. Pretty black fish. Look at that.
We picked up about a 12-inch smallmouth. Just throwing a kind of cream-colored brown jig on the bottom. Let it sit there for a few seconds. He came over and slammed it. where we're fishing, we're mixed in and amongst all this bait fish. A lot of suckers, a lot of creek chub, things like that. So the fish have all kinds of food that they want. You just hammered it. First Tennessee smallmouth. Let's get another one.
This episode of Kayak Bassin is brought to you by Bonafide Kayaks. Stability, agility, ultimate fishability. Fish USA, America's tackle shop. Deeper, the world's most popular castable fish finder.
So Justin took to fishing from a kayak pretty quickly. In fact, he had kayaking experience before, and in fact, he had taught kayaking lessons, but not kayak fishing. It was unbelievable how quickly he got comfortable, not only in the boat, but standing, casting, managing his boat position, you know, running through small rapids, and making sure he stayed out of harm's way. So I was pretty impressed.
This is my first time out on the water with Chad. We were out with him yesterday, and dude's a riot, a lot of fun. We caught a ton of fish, so I'm not looking for anything different today. We're on a different stream, we're out in Tennessee, and it's just gonna be a good time. Over at Fish USA, I work with our pro staff and ambassador teams. I do some social media work. I also work with sponsorships and local clubs and organizations. My background has been a lot of environmental education, wildlife and fisheries science, so kind of pulling a mixed bag over at Fish USA, but it's a lot of fun, having an awesome opportunity out here on the water with everybody, and it's gonna be a good day.
This fish absolutely destroyed this bull herring by bull shad. This is one I custom painted myself to look like a stone roller creek minnow we have around here. This fish obviously thought it looked real.
There could be one right here behind this log too. There's a 21 or better right in here. Unless he swam out. One of the things that happens when you put myself and Nick and JG together is we really get away from fishing the most effective way to fish. Probably the most effective way to fish a river, especially a river like this, would be with a Ned rig, crawfish bait, a lizard, or a Senko. Senkos do really well in the river, so we just get in a situation where the only way we really want to catch them is on top, and that's what we throw.
Chad, why do you choose Fish USA?
Culture. When I met with you guys and you said that you wanted to do this, this, and this, then I was in. And I knew what I could bring to the table for bass. Comprehensive a selection as you have for, you know, those Great Lake species. I pretty much knew, you know, that if we took that level of commitment to being skew heavy and having a lot of diversity for anglers, and I could bring the bass fishing version of that to the table, that it would be kind of the ultimate store, you know? And especially if we bring that to kayak fishing gear, you know?
That's what we're trying to do.
So Nick got another one on the old horny toad out here, bright sun. I wouldn't say there's no clouds in the sky, but the clouds are not cooperating and blocking sun, so it's might as well be not a cloud in the sky. But another pretty smallie on the old horny toad. Choking it.
Man, he tracked that down from a long way off. Another little guy, 10 inches or so. Man, he flew out from underneath the bank and just slammed that frog. Get it back in.
You know, this river, we were here a year ago, and it's a completely different river. That's the greatest thing about fishing rivers, is you can never fully learn them, because as soon as you learn them, they change. There are strainers that are gone. There are rock bars that have completely moved. What was a hole last year is now filled in with wood. What didn't have wood last year is now a hole with wood at the front of it and a big pocket with smallmouth piled up into it. A river that last year we never saw a drum in is now loaded with drum. These fish are probably moving up from Barkley, and who knows, they may not be here all summer, but they might be. But there is a huge sucker population in here. The shad population is through the roof. There are crawfish everywhere. This is has all the symptoms of a healthy fishery that's sustainable, that's gonna be that way for a long time and continue to crank out trophy smallmouth. And I just say this, I freaking love this place. Yeah, buddy.
Main fish.
Yes, sir.
I about snapped my wrist.
All right, guys, we are done for the day. We got a good little ways to make it to the takeout. We got a shuttle to run, and then we got about a 45-minute drive back to the casa. And then this guy, and this guy, and that guy, not that guy, because JG's got a JOB, so he's got to go do that tomorrow. But the three of us are going to go hit another river in Tennessee. And honestly, we ain't even decided yet. So we're going to figure that out tonight by checking flow, by checking aerial photography, by checking weather, all that good stuff, and we'll see y'all in just a minute for more kayak bass fishing action. Actually, it's more like 2 minutes, but you know what I mean. We'll see you in a minute.
This episode of Kayak Bassin is brought to you by Yak Attack, Yamamoto, Yakima, NRS, Lowrance,
Hey guys, Chad Hoover. We are back, and we're back on the river. So I'm here with the biggest half of Tea and Moving Waters right here, Mr. Nick Adams. We are joined again by Justin from Fish USA, and today we got Scott Butcher. Scott is with Snap Scott Photography. See what he did there? Kind of like a play on words with. Anyway, so Scott's going to be following us today to make us all look good in photography while at the same time trying to learn how to fish. So anyway, that's Scott, that's Justin, that's Nick, I'm Chad. Those are the smallmouth, and we about to go get them.
Yep.
Check that out. Another gorgeous river smallie. Look at the gut on that thing. We're at the top of the feeding time, and half of them have crawfish pinchers sticking out their throat or hanging out their butt, and they're pretty much grinding it out. But they are blowing these horny toads out of the water. The top water bite is freaking phenomenal. Let's get this guy back in the water and get him on down the river. Ha ha. All right, so let me give you an update on how I caught this fish. So I dropped down to a 5/0 hook with the screw lock, and then stuck with that same bullet weight from Wu Tungsten, and then that thing fits there towards the back. When you rig that up, it's got a nice little nose. That's the one thing you want to do, is you want to curve that nose up a little bit so that it doesn't take as much speed to get that toad up on the surface, especially when you're using a bullet weight. So I like to curve it up a little bit. That makes it search. It also makes his legs dig in and gurgle a little bit more. But that setup right there on the river, that thing right there absolutely destroys him.
Threw the frog over there by the grass bed, just absolutely annihilated it. Beautiful 4-pound smallmouth, 20 plus inches. So awesome.
Look, there might be some prettier things on this planet, but you'd be hard pressed to find it, especially in the South. Oh, freaking, the only thing better than catching a river smallie is catching a river smallie on top water and water that deep. And we just getting started.
Yeah, that's what it's about right there.
Fish on, double. Double. Did I mention we got a double? Like a double. Double. Double down. Hey, you know what we did? Nick, you know what we did?
What we do?
We doubled down on brown. Look at that.
Yeah, another just super feisty smallmouth. Man, they're so mean. Thought this fish was about 5 pounds. Put up a crazy fight.
What's up, baby? Boom. That's how we do.
There's really not too much you can do wrong to be able to flip one of these boats. I mean, I'm 6 foot tall and I can move around in these like it's nothing else. Forward, backward, you can walk up front, walk to the back. I mean, your mindset in a kayak is you gotta be sitting, you gotta have your center of gravity low to the water. But this is day 2 in this boat. It's not even my boat. And I'm starting to figure out how easy it is really to move around in this, to manipulate the boat so that you can stand. You can move around it so that you can fish in different situations and you don't have to be concerned whatsoever about falling out.
One of the best things to do to fish trophy smallmouth in a river like this is to not take 4, 5, 6 people down the river. In fact, fishing solo, maybe one other angler that's like-minded, is the best way to target these trophy smallmouth. It's just really hard to connect with those really smart, 15 to 20-year-old fish when there's 4 or 5 people floating down the river, banging paddles, making noise, bumping their boat. But man, is it fun watching your buddy blow up a bait, catching a fish, hooting and hollering. So I'll take it, because I can always come back out here by myself and catch a slaunch donkey.
This episode of Kayak Bassin is brought to you by Yak Attack, Yamamoto, Yakima, NRS, Lowrance,
Oh yeah, buddy. Look at this tank. Dude. Look at this tank, bro. Look at that thing. So consistently catching fish is about making adjustments, and honestly, I was getting fish that were blowing up on it pretty much before I could get it to the surface. So I decided to take the weight off, and I'll probably put the weight back on later this afternoon, but I'm just going straight frog, and they are flat blowing it up on the black horny toad. And it's just something about it on the river.
They're not rigged right.
Again, the way you rig this thing is you just screw it on there. I kind of pull away from it as I'm screwing it so it gets a good bite. I get it all the way up to it, and then I turn it back a half turn. Line that hook up with the belly right at the back of the thing, come in through there at a 90-degree angle, and then skin it. And that's how you crush them.
Oh, you had it for a second. That was quick. Oh!
Wait on it. Oh, wait on it.
Damn, man.
Get back in there.
Oh, that is so weird to wait. I got the trout set. Shoot.
Oh, dude. Oh, dude. Yeah, buddy. That fish jacked it as soon as it hit the water. Right there, baby. Man, we caught a ton of fish the first day on the creek with JG, but JG had to work today. So on the second day, after we had a absolutely amazing day for numbers, saw a ton of quality fish on the first creek we fished, and just couldn't connect with that true, Tennessee chunk smallmouth. We got out here today and man, we hooked up with chunk after chunk after chunk. We didn't find that epic, 5.5, 6 pounder like we're looking for. Actually, we found it, we just couldn't get it to eat. These creeks are loaded with giants. To be honest with you, with this super clear water and fast moving current, the best way to find those giants is to come out here and fish at night. Nice. That's a pretty one. There ain't a much better way to end the day than that. I was drifting by this little pocket, saw 2 rocks there and there was a gap in there. Nick mentioned how much pressure this area had, so I said, well, I'm gonna throw right between those 2 rocks right there and get this toad. And sure enough, it blew that horny toad out of the water. And we finished the day up with a solid Tennessee River smallmouth. I can't tell you how gratifying it is to do 2 or 3 river trips and you find a lot of fish, but you can't catch them. You hook them, but you don't land them. You do everything just about right, and then you have that trip where everything goes your way. No broken line, no hardly any missed fish, and you just connect with big fish after big fish, and even when the small fish are super aggressive. And then to put the exclamation point on it, to like literally be within sight of the takeout and see a couple of rocks and call your shot. I saw these 2 rocks and I was like, hey, I'm gonna cast between those 2 rocks and get a blow up right there, just kind of talking smack like you do on the river, run the horny toad between the 2 rocks and boom, it was like a bowling ball fell out of an airplane. That last smallie just smashed it. And that's the exclamation point on an unbelievable day. Listen, I love my home state of Tennessee. You should come check out my home state of Tennessee. And if you do it, come check it out the best way I know how. That's on the water, on the moving water with the guys from TN Moving Waters. Got to thank my good buddy Justin. I got to thank Scott for coming out and making us look good in photos. And we'll see you guys next time for more kayak bass fishing action.